Have you ever truly questioned where your soul drifts when you sleep? Not as a concept, but in the quiet space behind your dreaming? Because while your physical body rests through the night, your essence is in motion, moving through dimensions more vivid than the world you wake into. And those in power have never wanted you to remember that. Right now, entire structures, scientific, religious, governmental, depend on the illusion that sleep is merely rest. But the ancients understood more. They recorded intricate maps of awareness, doorways concealed inside dreams, and the specific routes your spirit traces each night. That wisdom was silenced, hidden, on purpose, after years immersed in suppressed manuscripts and teachings preserved through secret lineages. What I've come to discover is something many won't accept until they experience it firsthand. You can stop watching this now and return to the false idea of sleep as mere unconsciousness, or you can continue and awaken to a truth etched into your soul long before you were born. Each time the outer world fades and your eyelids begin to lower, something remarkable stirs. Not in your bed, not in your thoughts, but in the core of your spiritual being. You shift into what most call sleep. But what if that idea, that definition, is the ultimate distraction? Because you're not simply resting, you're voyaging. Your awareness gently unhooks from the physical, quiet and unseen, like mist rising from still waters, entering a domain so infinite, so ancient, your waking mind could never fully grasp it. But your soul knows. It always has. Sleep isn't a collapse. It's a homecoming. Each time your body settles into silence, your spirit begins to rise. Through the haze of forgetfulness, through layers of deception, into the same divine landscapes that sages, seers, and wisdom keepers have touched for eons. The very realms whispered about in lost scriptures, etched in sacred stone, and concealed in the outlawed pages of sacred texts. You've been conditioned to believe dreams are just random brain activity, that they lack meaning or depth. But that narrative was never meant to serve you. It was designed to make you forget. Because if you truly remembered where you go at night, you would become ungovernable. Your consciousness doesn't go dormant. It expands. It loosens from the body and returns to its origin, to the astral currents where linear time dissolves and everything becomes clear. You traverse the dream layers, yes, but those are merely entry points. They are the camouflage veiling a more profound truth, a space filled with codes, insight, and memories from lives beyond this one. That's why some dreams feel oddly familiar, like deja vu of a place, a face, or a lesson revisited, and why others feel more tangible than daylight, because they are. As your body rests, your astral body drifts freely, still connected by a luminous thread, the silver cord that binds soul to form. You slip into the liminal zone between spirit and substance. This isn't fantasy. It's your soul's native function, activating each night regardless of belief. In sleep, you encounter realms that surpass logic, dimensions with hues you've never seen, harmonics that vibrate through your being, and entities that speak through knowing rather than words. Some are mentors, some reflect your higher self, and some serve as mirrors, revealing what you avoid in your waking hours. So why don't you recall any of this? Because the system is engineered to erase it. Society trains you to dismiss the inner world, to minimize your imagination, to regard your dreams as random static. From childhood, you're taught that visions are make-believe, that intuition is unreliable. And the moment you start trusting the outer world more than the inner one, the veil thickens. But something inside you has never forgotten. That's why you're here. That's why these words resonate. Because you've had dreams that defy logic, moments that stretch time, brief flashes of other timelines, other versions of yourself. Deep down, you've always felt that sleep is not a disappearance, but a passageway. There exists an ancient manuscript, almost entirely erased by religious and academic institutions, that charts the soul's path through the dreamscape. A sacred text so potent, it was hidden away for centuries. Within it are detailed accounts of the territories you move through at night, the thresholds, the gatekeepers, the challenges. And perhaps the most profound truth it reveals is this: sleep is a rehearsal for death, not in a grim sense, but as a holy process. Because what unfolds every night mirrors what happens when you cross from life into spirit, the letting go, the decoding of archetypes, confrontation of inner shadows, and ultimately, if you're willing, the return to source. The Tibetan mystics knew this. The Egyptians built entire spiritual systems upon it. They understood that to truly master this life, one must become skilled in the journey beyond it. And that passage begins with sleep. Each dream holds a message, each night a sacred rite. And when you start to wake within the dream to realize you're dreaming, that's when your training truly begins. That's when you begin reclaiming your original power. Lucid dreaming isn't a novelty. It's not entertainment. It's an ancient mystical discipline, one that grants you conscious access to the unseen realms, to engage with spirit allies, to heal buried wounds, to recover lost aspects of yourself, to realign timelines, and to dissolve fear, the illusion's strongest weapon. You were never meant to be unconscious through this nightly rite. That was a learned habit. But your natural state is awareness, not just by day, but through every level of existence. And once you begin dissolving the illusions, it becomes clear. You've been preparing for this all along. That recurring dream, it's not random. It's a soul signal, nudging you toward resolution. That nightmare, it's your shadow reaching out, asking to be embraced. That soaring sensation, it's your soul remembering its wings. The signs have always been there. And now you're beginning to notice. There's a reason ancient civilizations safeguarded this wisdom. A reason the sacred chambers of Egypt, the silent monasteries of Tibet, the time-worn scrolls buried beneath centuries of dust, all speak of sleep not as mere rest, but as a gateway. They understood something modern science still struggles to accept, that you are not just flesh and intellect. You are a multidimensional being, crossing thresholds of reality with every dusk. And the most profound truth? You've been doing this all along. Each time your eyes close, your inner sight awakens. In that space, the rules of this world dissolve. Gravity can't tether you. Time can't constrain you. Identity becomes fluid. Because in that realm, you are no longer the name you were given or the narrative you've lived. You are pure awareness. You are both the dream and the dreamer. Once this clicks inside you, something shifts. The veil no longer frightens you. You release your grip on this single version of reality, and you begin to carry yourself with a subtle strength because you've glimpsed what lies beyond. Sleep isn't life's opposite, it's its reflection. What meets you in dreams isn't illusion, it's revelation. And often it's more sincere than your waking hours, because in dreams, your soul speaks without censorship. It unveils what daylight conceals, hidden wounds, buried desires, forgotten strength. Sometimes it speaks in mystery, other times in emotions so raw you wake in tears without knowing why. But always its purpose is the same, to return you to yourself. That's why remembering matters, because every dream left forgotten is a message unopened, a gift from your higher self that remains unclaimed. Night after night, your soul offers these glimpses, waiting for the moment you decide to truly listen. And when you do, everything starts to change. You move through the day with intention. You recognize patterns. You begin to notice the way the outer world mirrors your inner one. The boundaries between sleep and waking blur, not by mistake, but by design. Mystics call this spiritual integration, when your sleeping and waking selves begin to merge. Your decisions become more aligned, your intuition sharpens, and the need to seek truth outside of you begins to fade, because you remember it has always lived within. You come to understand that reality isn't something you witness, it's something you shape. Your energy molds it, your thoughts echo through it, your beliefs structure it. And just like in dreams, what you focus on starts to materialize. It isn't fantasy, it's coherence. The same coherence that occurs in lucid dreams. When you suddenly realize you can fly, transform the landscape, or step through walls. That same power exists here, right now. The only difference is how deeply you're willing to trust it. So let me ask you, when was the last time you entered sleep with intention? When was the last time you asked your higher self to guide you, to reveal something your ego keeps hidden? You don't need incense or elaborate rituals. You need honesty. You need to speak to yourself like someone who matters, because you do. And your soul, it's always listening. The more you engage with it, the clearer its voice becomes. Start simply. Whisper something small. Tonight I remember. Tonight I return. Tonight I awaken within the dream. Say it. Feel it. Let your body become the sacred space. Because your sleep isn't a break in your story. It's a sacred chapter, one where the divine speaks directly to you. And one more thing, not every dream you have is yours alone. Some belong to the collective. Some echo from your ancestors. Some are fragments of other lifetimes seeping through the veil. Have you ever awoken with feelings that felt unfamiliar? A sorrow too ancient? A joy too sudden? A love for someone you've never known? That's not fantasy, that's memory, soul memory. Your awareness isn't trapped in one body or one life. It stretches across timelines, dimensions, possibilities. And in sleep, you travel through them, sometimes as a visitor, sometimes as a healer, sometimes as the very soul in need of healing. That's why dream work is more than personal, it's universal. Each remembered dream, each symbol interpreted, each emotion felt, it weaves another thread into the great tapestry of who you are. And that tapestry is immense. In a single night, you may drift across astral landscapes, revisit a life once lived, meet with a departed soul, or glimpse something your waking self has yet to encounter. These aren't fantasies, they are transmissions, and you are the receiver if you choose to receive. That's why your dreams matter, because they are the soul's training ground, the eternal classroom, where you face what you fear, not to suffer, but to understand, where you meet who you've been, not to cling, but to integrate, where you glimpse who you're becoming, not to fantasize, but to choose, because every night is a choice. Every night is an opening. And it's not just about sleep, it's about sovereignty, spiritual sovereignty. The moment you remember that you travel, that you choose, that you create, everything begins to shift. You reclaim the terrain of your own mind. You guard your energy not just by day, but through the sacred hours of night. And when you do, the system starts to lose its grip. Because make no mistake, there is a system, one that feeds on your forgetting, that keeps you numb, distracted, entertained, and drained. A system that teaches you to sleep without dreaming and to dream without meaning. But when you remember what sleep truly is, a return, a rising, a reunion with your deeper self, that system begins to dissolve. You become harder to program, harder to control, because a person who knows where they go at night can't be told who they are during the day. You've been conditioned to forget. But forgetting is not your nature. Remembering is. And once the remembering begins, it cannot be undone. It starts with one dream, one symbol that stays with you, one whisper in the dark that you know wasn't random, then another and another, until your nights become as vivid as your days, until they begin to blend, until you stop asking what's real and start asking what's true. Reality bends to truth, and your truth is this: you are a multidimensional being, a soul wearing a body like a coat, a traveler moving through time like breath through lungs. Every night you lift from form and return to source, and every morning you bring back a little more of that light, even if you don't yet realize it. But now you do, and that changes everything. Tonight something different will happen, because now you're aware, you've seen behind the curtain, you'll feel it, that soft pull as your body drifts, that flutter in your chest as your astral self rises. The space between thoughts will widen, and you'll remember, not everything, not all at once, but enough. Enough to know this isn't fantasy, enough to feel something ancient stir inside. And once awakened, it doesn't go back to sleep. So let it rise. Let the oldest part of you take the lead. Let your dream body stretch. Let your higher self guide you. Let the veil thin and step through it, not as a wanderer, but as a sovereign traveler of the stars. Because you weren't just born to live, you came to remember. And tonight, you will. You might notice the signs even before you drift off. A tingling between the brows, a lift behind the eyes, a sensation of watching from beyond yourself. That's not imagination. That's your soul preparing to shift. The layers between dimensions are thinner now. You've pierced illusion just by naming it, and now the gateway's open. Some will look familiar, places you've known with new rooms, streets that feel like memories, cities that shimmer. That familiarity isn't coincidence, it's recognition. Echoes from lifetimes past, fragments from timelines walked. You'll know them by feeling, not logic. You'll walk through them like recalling a song you never learned but always knew. Others will be vast, strange, otherworldly, cosmic landscapes where form and sound merge, where light becomes thought and thought becomes form. These are higher realms. You reach them not through effort but through resonance. They respond to vibration, to clarity, intention, truth. If you enter with fear, the world reflects fear. If you arrive open and aligned, it mirrors something holy. There are temples of light here, libraries of knowing, cities built of sound. You may meet beings who don't speak, but transmit understanding directly into your field. You may see symbols that stir dormant codes in your DNA. You may receive visions, not of what will happen, but of what can if you choose. These visions are invitations, not prophecies. Your free will is always the gatekeeper. Even in dreams, your choices matter. Because everything is a mirror, and the dream doesn't just respond to thought, it responds to frequency. The more grounded you are in love, trust, and presence, the more access you have. The more fear, confusion, or resistance you bring, the more distorted the reflection becomes. That's why the ancient initiates purified before dream work. Not because the dream world is dangerous, but because it is sacred. And you do not enter the sacred casually, but you are learning. You're remembering the rituals, the breath work before bed, the cleansing of your field, the quiet setting of intention, the simple act of gratitude before crossing over. These aren't superstitions. They're frequencies, door codes, signals to your guides that you're ready to receive. And once that signal is sent, the multiverse listens. Not everyone will understand what you're experiencing. That's okay. This path is not for validation. It's for evolution. You're not here to prove your truth. You're here to embody it so fully that it radiates from you like light from a star. You don't need to explain what you're becoming. You just need to become it. And in time, your life will shift. You'll start to see the bleed dreams seeping into waking life. A stranger echoing a dream conversation. A smell reminding you of a world you can't name. Deja vu so strong it echoes in your bones. These aren't glitches, they're confirmations. Signs on the path of remembering. And one night, maybe tonight, maybe soon, you'll wake in the dream. And know without question that you are not just dreaming, you are aware of the dream, and that changes everything. That's not just lucidity, it's liberation. The moment you stop being the character and become the author, that knowing comes back with you. Suddenly you question what you never questioned. You stop following scripts. You begin to design your days like you shape your dreams, with power, with clarity, with purpose. And then you see, the only difference between dreams and waking life is how real you believe them to be. But both are mirrors, both are tools, both are stages for your awakening. And once you master one, you begin to master the other. This is how transformation begins. Not by escaping the world, but by seeing it clearly, consciously. Every pain, every joy, every trigger becomes a dream symbol inviting you deeper. And the more lucid you become, the more magical life becomes. Not because the outer changes overnight, but because you do. You stop reacting, you start creating. You shift from victim to visionary, from sleeper to sovereign. And slowly, the life you once felt trapped in becomes the dream you now walk awake. Yes, there will still be shadows, but you face them now, knowing they only hold power if you give it. You meet your monsters and realize they are wounded parts. You hold them, you heal them, you reclaim them. You stop running from yourself. You start returning to yourself. That's the point of this path, not to reach perfection, not to escape pain, not to transcend humanity, to remember your divinity, to remember that you are the dreamer and the dream, the actor and the stage, the soul and the stars. And every night as the world softens and your eyes grow heavy, you're invited back to that remembering, back through the veil, into the sacred corridors of your infinite mind, to meet yourself, not as the world sees you, but as the universe knows you. And in that meeting, something ancient stirs, something that says, I remember where I came from, I remember who I am, and I will not forget again. Tonight is different, not because the stars have changed, but because you have. You move towards sleep with eyes wide. You know now what waits on the other side is not just rest, it is revelation. You cross that threshold awake. This is the return of sacred memory, the remembering that sleep is the soul's sanctuary and every dream an invitation home. You've spent lifetimes forgetting, but the forgetting ends here. Now you become the conscious dreamer. Now the night becomes your temple, your mirror, your map back to truth. And as you lay your head down, it won't feel like falling asleep. It will feel like lifting off. Because that's what it is. You're not sinking into unconsciousness. You're rising into remembrance. And in that rise, you will see Time bends in the dream. You are not bound by linear thought or flesh. You can visit the past, not to relive, but to heal. You can glimpse potential futures and choose your path. Every realm responds to frequency, to the quality of your presence, the clarity of your heart, and you'll know you've done this before. Thousands of nights, across lifetimes. This isn't the beginning, it's the remembering. And yes, the world will still try to distract you. It will feed you noise, numbness, and forgetfulness. It will say dreams are meaningless, sleep is just biology, and the universe is beyond reach. But now you know better. Now you carry the key, and with it, the freedom to step through illusion, to close your eyes and see more, not less. To drift not into blankness, but into sacred communion. Because when the body sleeps, the spirit speaks. It speaks in symbol, in rhythm, in light. It shows you where you're stuck, where you're ready. It reveals truths you've hidden and potentials waiting to rise. And when you meet it with reverence, it opens to you, like a flower to light, like the sky parting for stars. That's what sleep becomes, a temple, a reunion, a journey not away from yourself, but into yourself. So as you drift, remind yourself, I am more than this body. I am more than this life. I am a traveler between worlds, and the road beneath me is eternal. I do not fear the unknown, because the unknown is my home. I do not fear sleep, because sleep is my return. Let that be your prayer. Let it hum beneath your breath like a thread of light. And know this, you are not alone. You never were. Others are waking up with you. You'll meet them in dreams, souls who know your frequency, even if your face is new. They'll help you remember. They'll walk with you through realms of healing and light. And when you return, you'll carry something back, a shift, a spark, a knowing, maybe a peace that wasn't there before, maybe a direction that once felt distant, now feels destined. You won't need to explain it. Truth doesn't need proof, only presence. And that presence grows each time you close your eyes with intention, each time you listen to your dreams like scripture, because they are. There is no wasted night when you dream with awareness, no wasted sleep when your soul is traveling. Each breath becomes part of the ritual, each dream a breadcrumb back to the source. And the more you trust it, the more it reveals. Fear dissolves, not because it vanishes, but because you stop becoming it. You see fear for what it is, a teacher, a shadow, not a truth. You walk toward it and it softens. It shows you the wound beneath the roar. And in that meeting, you recover another piece of yourself. This is the medicine of dreaming. It doesn't just show you what's broken, it shows you how to become whole. It brings imagery, presence, memory, and reminds you that nothing within you is too far to be reclaimed. And all of this happens while the world believes you are asleep. But you know better. You've seen behind the veil. You've remembered what sleep truly is. And that knowing now lives inside you, glowing, spreading, calling you home. So go, sleep not as the world taught you, but as your soul always knew. Lay your head down in reverence. Close your eyes with purpose. Breathe like one crossing into sacred space. And remember, you are not falling asleep. You are rising into truth. You are returning to the place where stars are born. And you will return carrying light. Because you are not just the dreamer. You are the one who remembers. And this is only the beginning.